Have you ever been in a job interview and the interviewer asks, "Can you talk about your previous job?" It sounds easy. You had a job, you know what you did, so this should be simple, right?
Exactly. But then I start answering, and suddenly I'm talking about everything: my company, my daily tasks, my coworkers, even why I left.
And that's where many candidates lose the interviewer, because this question is not an invitation to tell your whole work history.
So, what does the interviewer really want to hear?
They want to understand four things. What was your role? What were your main responsibilities? What did you learn or achieve? And most importantly, how can that experience help you in this new job?
That last part sounds important.
Very important, because the interviewer is asking about your past, but they're really thinking about your future.
So, I shouldn't just list everything I did?
You need to choose the right details and connect them to the job you want now. So, listeners, stay with us until the end, because today we'll show you a simple structure to answer this question clearly and professionally, even if your previous job was in a completely different field.
Okay, now I really want to know. Let's get started.
Okay, Tom, let's start with the first part of your answer, your role and your main responsibilities.
So, first, I tell them my job title.
Yes, start by helping the interviewer understand what your position was. You can say, "In my previous job, I worked as a customer service representative," or "In my previous role, I worked as a sales assistant." Simple, clear. Now the interviewer knows exactly what kind of work you did.
And then I talk about my responsibilities?
Yes, but this is where many candidates make a mistake. They try to mention everything. For example, "I answered emails, made phone calls, talked to customers, updated files, attended meetings, prepared reports, helped my manager, and sometimes trained new staff."
That sounds like a lot.
And after a while, the interviewer may stop listening. Remember, you are not reading your job description. You are explaining your experience.
So, how many responsibilities should I mention?
Usually, 2 or 3 main responsibilities are enough, and choose the ones that are most relevant to the job you want now.
Can you show me the difference?
Of course, imagine you are applying for a customer service position. Here is a weak answer. "In my previous job, I did many things. I answered emails, organized documents, joined meetings, helped my coworkers, and completed different tasks every day."
It's not wrong, but it sounds very general.
Now listen to this. "In my previous job, I worked as a customer service representative. My main responsibilities were answering customer questions, handling basic complaints, and making sure customers received the right support."
That sounds much clearer.
Because every detail has a purpose, the interviewer can immediately understand what your role was and what you were responsible for.
So the structure is position first, then main responsibilities.
Exactly. Position, then main responsibilities. Let's look at another example. Imagine you worked in sales. You could say, "In my previous role, I worked as a sales assistant. My main responsibilities were helping customers understand different products, recommending suitable options, and supporting the team with daily sales activities."
That sounds professional, but still easy to understand.
And that's the goal. You don't need difficult English. You need clear information. Now imagine you had an office job. You could say, "I worked as an administrative assistant. I was responsible for organizing documents, scheduling meetings, and supporting the team with daily office tasks."
Okay, But what if my previous job was very simple? Maybe I worked part-time in a coffee shop.
That experience still matters. You could say, I worked part-time in a busy coffee shop. My main responsibilities were taking orders, serving customers, and making sure they had a positive experience.
I like that. It doesn't make the job sound bigger than it was, but it still sounds valuable.
Be honest, but choose your details carefully. And here is the question I want every listener to remember. Don't ask yourself, what did I do in my old job? Ask yourself, which parts of my previous job matter most to this interviewer?
Oh, that changes the way I think about the answer.
It should, because a strong interview answer is not about saying everything. It's about choosing what is most relevant.
So if I did 10 different tasks, I don't need to mention all 10.
No, choose 2 or 3 that help the interviewer see why your experience matters.
Position, main responsibilities, and only the most relevant details.
But there's one more problem. Many candidates stop here. They explain what they did, but they never show what they learned, what they improved, or what value came from that experience. And that is exactly what we're going to fix next. Now, Tom, you know how to explain your role and your main responsibilities, but a strong answer should not stop there.
What should I add next?
Show what you learned and why that experience matters for the job you want now.
So I need to connect my old job to the new one.
Exactly. Listen to this answer. I answered customer emails, handled complaints, and solved basic problems. It tells you what you did. But now listen to this. I handled customer questions and complaints, and that experience taught me how to stay calm under pressure, communicate clearly, and find practical solutions.
That sounds much stronger.
Because now you are not just listing tasks, you are showing value. A simple structure is what I did, what I learned, why it matters now.
Can you give me a full example?
Of course. In my previous job, I worked in a busy retail store. I often helped several customers at the same time, so I learned how to manage multiple tasks while still providing good service. I believe this experience would help me work effectively in this position.
Okay, but what if my previous job was in a completely different field?
That's a very common situation, and here is the mistake. Don't say, my previous job is not related. Instead, look for transferable skills. For example, although my previous role was in hospitality, it helped me develop strong communication, teamwork, and time management skills. I believe these skills would be valuable in this position.
So my old job doesn't need to be exactly the same.
Yes, and this is the key idea. Your previous job does not need to match perfectly. Your skills need to transfer.
So instead of focusing on what is different, I should focus on what I can bring with me.
Because the interviewer is asking about your previous job, but they're really trying to understand one thing. How can your past experience help you succeed here? And once you understand that, your answer becomes much more focused, relevant, and convincing. Now, Tom, before we move to the role play, let's look at 3 common mistakes.
Okay, what's the first one?
Mistake number 1. Telling your whole work history. Some candidates start with their first job, then the second, then the third. But the interviewer doesn't need your entire career story. Focus on the experience that is most relevant to the position.
Got it. What's mistake number 2?
Only listing duties. For example, I answered emails, I made calls, I wrote reports. That sounds like you are reading your CV. Instead, show what those responsibilities taught you. For example, handling customer emails and calls helped me develop stronger communication and problem-solving skills.
Much better. And the third mistake?
speaking negatively about your previous job. Avoid saying, "My manager was terrible," or "I hated that company." Even if you had a difficult experience, stay professional. You can say, "I learned a lot in that role, but I'm now looking for an opportunity where I can grow and take on more responsibility."
So don't use the interview to complain about the past.
Use your previous job to show why you are ready for your next opportunity. And now, let's see how all of this works in a real interview.
Could you tell me about your previous job?
Of course. In my previous job, I worked as a customer service representative for a retail company. My main responsibilities were answering customer questions, handling complaints, and helping customers find the right solutions.
What did you learn from that experience?
I learned how to communicate clearly, stay calm under pressure, and listen carefully before offering a solution. I also learned that customers often want to feel heard before they are ready to solve the problem.
That's important. Can you give me a quick example?
Certainly. One customer was upset because an order arrived late. I listened carefully, explained the situation clearly, and helped arrange a faster replacement. The customer appreciated the support and left the conversation feeling satisfied.
Good. How would your previous experience help you in this position?
I believe it would help me a lot. This position also requires strong communication, patience, and problem-solving skills. My previous job taught me how to understand customer needs, handle difficult situations professionally, and focus on practical solutions. I believe I can bring those skills to this role and contribute positively to your team.
Thank you. That's a clear and relevant answer.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to explain my experience, and I'd be happy to bring what I've learned into this new role.
So, Tom, today we learned how to answer, talk about your previous job. And now you know that a strong answer is not about telling your whole work history.
It's about choosing the experience that matters most for the job you want now.
Remember this simple structure. Role: what was your position? Responsibilities: what were your main tasks? Result: what did you learn or improve? And finally, relevance: how can that experience help you in the new job?
So keep it clear, focused, and connected to the position.
Now, listeners, it's your turn. In the comments below, tell us, what was your previous job? Try writing 2 or 3 sentences using today's structure. And if this lesson helped you, please like this video and subscribe to Focus English with CC for more job interview English lessons.
Keep practicing, and we'll see you in the next lesson.
Bye, everyone.